All right, guys, we are back. Welcome to the Heat Podcast. Excuse me. Episode 2. All right, we are going to dive in to some unraveling of Erika Kirk skeletons in the closet or a whole damn graveyard. Stay tuned to find out exactly what we're talking about. Guys, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We would love it if you ring the bell, but we are just starting out, so it all is appreciated, guys. But I'm going to pretty much jump right into this. So I came across something interesting the other day when I was just kind of doing some investigating, some looking up of Erika Kirk, seeing what I could come across, and severely buried in Google. I mean, severely buried, and probably because the person whose substack it is just probably not a large known poster or anything of that nature. Could be partially the reason, or because they don't want you to know what is being said about Erika Kirk and numerous family members that are related to her. Well, family members. I said related. Family members would mean related to her. So, could be because they think it's just ridiculous and outlandish to say such a thing, and they buried it for that reason. Who knows? But what I do know is there's a lot of interesting stuff in this Substack. Okay, it is Agent 131711. Again, that's Agent 131711 Substack. And you could get to it at this site right here if you wanted to check it out, okay? For yourself. All right. This was put up on January 29th, 2026. All right. And just in the disclaimer here, it says everyone mentioned in this article should be considered innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. I'm not going to read the rest of it because it just tells people that are in certain areas of the world and can't see this content due to biometrics how to find it, okay? But let's just jump right into this, okay? Let's see here. Oh, we can listen instead. Let's do that. Here we go. See, give me a moment here and work out the kinks.
Turning Point USA.
Here we go.
Turning Point USA is
Sorry, work with me for a moment here, guys. Stay tuned. Be patient. I'm getting there. I'd rather...
an American nonprofit organization that advocates for conservative politics on high school, college, and university campuses. It was founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk and Bill Montgomery and has grown to have a variety of affiliated groups, which are also nonprofits. These groups include Turning Point Endowment, TP USA Faith, and Turning Point Action, which, as far as I know, were all also founded by Kirk. While there is no publicly available tax filing for TP USA Faith, we are able to see one for Turning Point Endowment, which has nearly $70 million worth of assets. Most of these assets are securities, stocks. I am unable to see specifically which stocks they are invested in. We are also not able to see the financial contributors to this charity because there is a single one, which is listed as restricted. Alternatively, there could be many and they are all restricted. There is no way of knowing. Turning Point Endowment reports generating a little under $4 million a year, which is nothing compared to Turning Point USA, which is raking in over $85 million and owns another $26 million in assets. So, between the two companies, roughly $90 million a year in cash is coming in, and there is an additional $96 million in assets. And that's not counting TP USA Faith because we can't see those filings. For comparison, 100 million a year is how much companies like Zoom, Slack, Adobe, Etsy, Shopify, Wayfair, and Dropbox generate. Charlie Kirk had nearly double the assets compared to what a juggernaut company like Adobe generates in a year. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated in September 2025, which is a different story for a different day, control of Turning Point and its affiliates went to his wife, Erika Kirk, formerly Erika Frantzve. Let's meet Mrs. Kirk's family. Grandpa Carl. Erika's grandfather was Carl Frantzve, from Sweden. He served as a captain in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers during World War II and the Korean War.
Sorry, I muted the mic because I didn't want to get feedback through the speakers. Wow. Just a lot right there, right from the jump, right? He was going over the, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Endowment assets and cash coming in for the year. And my God, $100 million a year is how much companies like Zoom, Slack, Adobe, Etsy, Shopify, Wayfair, and Dropbox generate. My God, that is insane that he pretty much, along with the help of the employees, of course, but pretty much did that up until he died. So now here's my thing, right? When people go and say, well, why would they do that? Why would someone want Charlie Kirk dead other than for reasons of just hatred over speech? There is $100 million. There's 100 million reasons a year to want him dead. Okay. To not have to state the obvious here. The bigger thing is the fact that Erika Kirk just kind of popped right in there, right? Now, let's really think about that for a second, right? The way she's reacting, the way she took over the position in the company, the way she's been treating employees, the way she's been celebrating, hat sales and coffee cup mug sales and, t-shirt sales. Everything's through the roof. Thank you guys so much. And then firing 40 pretty much like overnight at one point. Some people say one person said they were fired for speaking a little openly about not liking her in an Uber ride, on a ride somewhere. They got an Uber ride. They spoke about how she's like a bitch and all this other stuff, which Candace covered this yesterday, guys. Like, excuse me, I'm dealing with a cold. Past couple of days, kids as well, so we're getting through it though. But yeah, like, come on. The fact that she's acting like that after people were just working 20-hour days leading up to Amerifest and not really being compensated for it. I mean, these people have gone and started a GoFundMe. The people that helped you secure, I believe it was like 250 million to $250 million in assets and donations and incoming cash flow. Those people that were part of the team helping you secure that, you go and fire 40 of them and one or numerous of them because you didn't like what they said about you in an Uber ride. I mean, Candace even said it like, that's just job talk. That's every job on earth. People go home and complain about day at the office, day with the boss. Oh my God, the foreman on the job site's driving me crazy. You don't understand. I can't. But to be fired for speak, I mean, that's literally what Charlie Kirk stood for, was speaking your mind at all times and not just holding back because that's what you do. He celebrated and, reveled in the fact that, like, you're able to just, not like something or somebody and talk openly about it, and it doesn't have to become hatred, you know? Um, I mean, my God, the the people just lost their leader, their boss, their CEO, the real CEO, in a very brutal and public way, and helped your narrative of Charlie would want us to push through. Charlie would want those merch sales skyrocketing, guys. We got to get back to work, get back on the old gravy train, right? Um, for you to act like it's okay to sit back and judge people for openly talking about the change and not liking it, and yet you're the one preaching, hey, if people are acting different or acting weird, don't read too much into it. And I think Candace said it best. It's like, guys, they just lost the person that they were there for, right? They were at Turning Point, whoever they were as employees, because Charlie was there and because what he stood for and what he pushed and what his ultimate end agenda was, right? And changing the way that we can at least be able to have a conversation about things openly and honestly. Like, that was exactly what Charlie Kirk stood for. And you fire them? And now they have GoFundMe's. And you didn't offer a severance package or a bonus for all their hard effort and work. But hey, hat sales are up. T-shirt sales are up. Merch sales are up. I can't even keep up with it. The number just keeps on climbing. But hey, just stop. You need to just stop. Just stop. Okay? Come on. What unbelievable. I just had to throw it, like, unbelievable that a man by the name of Charlie Kirk brought this business entity to this point, guys. Absolutely absurd. Absurd. And by the way, I have no tie to this Agent 131711 person or whoever they are. Excuse me. Or whatever government agency it is. I don't have any tie to them. I don't get any money or kickback for talking about it. I just thought it was interesting and wanted you guys to hear about it, and be able to get some of this information for yourself. But it does get interesting. I will say it definitely has. Now, there's some stuff in here that's kind of like, what's that got to really do with anything? But I will say, whoever put the time and effort in on this, bravo, because they actually did, with many photos included, with like citations of like where, like sightings of where they came from. So I will say, kudos to you, because they, like, here, Uncle Jack, they give the Facebook profile and allow you to kind of look at it for your own self and with your own eyes. And obviously I'll enlarge some of these things. What I would recommend doing, guys, is if, like, when we get to this part, like, if I open an image and you want to, read it further, like, I don't know if he's going to stop and read this whole news article. What I would recommend doing, guys, when I enlarge it, right? Let me see here what I could do. You could screenshot it or, pause the video. Let's see if I could scoot that over a little. There we go. Maybe that could help a little bit. But yeah, whoever this person is that did this Substack definitely did their homework. They didn't just start ranting and raving a bunch of ludicrous nonsense. Agent 131711. If there's nothing else you take from this, take at least the fact that he definitely went, what you would consider somewhat deep on the subject, and definitely did his own investigating and vetting. He didn't just start typing a thread and put no evidence of anything he's claiming on it. He definitely puts a decent amount of stuff up here, to back up the claim. All right, let's keep going here.
He held the position of Grand Chief of the Independent Order of Vikings, a fraternal brotherhood, from 1977 to 1979, and was Vice President of Manufacturing at the American Bank Note Company, a firm known for printing and engraving currency. Karl was said to have been knighted by King Karl XVI Gustav of Sweden for promoting U.S.-Sweden relations. Mr. Frantzve had 4 children: Kent, Kendra, Kimberly, and Carla. Carla Frantzve, Erika's aunt, married a man named Jack Solomon, Uncle Jack. Jack was an investment banker as well as vice chairman of the California Democratic Council from 1966 to 1970. Additionally, he was a candidate for California government and president of the club at Brigham Young University. A man of such immense success always has a story to tell, and Mr. Solomon was no exception to the rule. You see, he was president of the club at Utah Valley State College. Why does this matter? Because it just so happens to be where Charlie Kirk was shot. Additionally, he was a 32nd-degree Freemason, a member of the Jewish Communist, B'nai B'rith, director of the United Jewish Federation, president of the World Jewish Congress, and a major donor to Zionism. Uncle Jack even founded an orphanage and a museum.
Real quick, I just wanted to jump in again. Again, I'm muting the mic in between so that we don't get so I don't get any feedback on the speakers. Let's see here. I wonder if, right here. He was a 32nd degree Freemason. Anybody that knows anything in the comment section about the Freemasons, if you could drop some knowledge in the comment about it, or a link or something about, how it came about, how it was founded, what the degree whole thing means. Are they relevant in our society today? Because the more I keep, investigating and reading and looking into things, that word Freemason continues to pop up throughout multiple news subjects and topics. So if you guys can drop some knowledge for me about it, or a link that I can click on and really get a true, description of what it is and where it came from and all those things, that would be amazing, because I've looked into it somewhat, and I think what I've read on it is more or less the vanilla description of it. You know what I mean? The very bland, but I know it goes very deep, and I know pretty much every one of our presidents has been tied into it at one point, and a lot of history behind it. So yeah, I just wanted to say, if you guys have any, type of information or, thoughts on it, drop that in the comment section below. And again, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you could be so kind to subscribe with the notification bell, it would be greatly appreciated. It only helps the channel, and it ultimately will help the channel grow. So thank you guys, and let's get back into it.
Museum in Israel. He was such a fan of Jerusalem that he funded the restoration of Zion's Gate and Plaza. Not everything Jack did was kosher with the government. In 1983, he was investigated for casino-related stock fraud, and then again in the 1990s, this time with biotech fraud. Oh, and according to his family, Jack Solomon was very interested in art. Mommy, Erika's mother, Lori Frantzve, worked with or for the government, specifically the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense. Although fact-check sites like Snopes debunk this information comes from Erika herself when she did an interview with a podcaster. So either Erika is lying about her life or Snopes is lying about Erika. Before you decide which you believe to be true, let me give you some more details. Although we don't know what specifically her mother does, she allegedly worked for General Electric. GE is a CIA affiliate.
Sorry guys, stand by one sec. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to plug my headphones in so I can hear in my ear without. Usually I have the speakers on for my own audio and I talk along, but I am going to put these on and get them set up here. Just give me a second.
Learn about them in my ebook Evergreen and the Black Budget Operation. The fact that GE is a CIA company makes it even more amusing that Erika's mom isn't just known as Lori Frantzve. She has gone by approximately 8 aliases. Some of these names include Guinta, Frantzve, and Wallstad. You're probably thinking she must have had a whole lot of failed marriages resulting in a variety of names. But that is not the case. There appears to be no normal explanation for the assortment of aliases. Now, if you really want your mind blown, in the Snowden leaks, one of the NSA employees had a name almost identical to hers. To make the situation even more complex, it appears Mommy may be involved with a whole bunch of shell companies. There are many different companies registered in her name and assorted spellings of her name, but none of the companies appear to exist anywhere other than on paper. These businesses don't have websites and there is no information to be found on them, but I didn't personally investigate this and quite frankly it isn't important enough to invest the time in. Uncle Alan. Then there is Nicole Rothstein, Erika's cousin, referred to as Erika's best friend on Instagram prior to Nicole's account being scrubbed. Her father is Alan Rothstein. Alan, a real estate professional, faced serious legal allegations when a woman, Candy Torres, sued him, claiming he required her to sign a lease agreement that included a clause demanding sexual favors in exchange for housing. According to legal filings, Uncle Alan presented Torres, a Section 8 housing recipient, with a contract titled Direct Consent for Sexual Intercourse. She was forced to sign under duress to avoid being homeless. Mr. Alan Rothstein was also a participant in a financial swindle involving tens of millions of dollars. Additionally, he was the proud owner of what appears to be a plethora of front companies while living in a $13 million home. And if that's not enough intel for you, according to fellow researchers, Alan Rothstein is from the Jewish Rothstein crime family that is intertwined with the Rothschild family. Interestingly, genealogy sites have redacted most of the names of the children of the crime family, which is quite uncommon. Those were just a few examples of Erika's family tree. Does that mean Erika is part of a criminal racket? No, definitely not, but it sure is interesting. Pizza. Erika's ex, Cabot Phillips, is said to be basically replacing Kirk at Turning Point. Mr. Phillips, a former ABC News reporter, has a very interesting tattoo, which he chose to place on his inner lip. The tattoo says pizza and has an arrow pointing into his mouth. While this may seem like nothing, many years before the infamous Pizzagate scandal, pedophile code words were posted on 4chan. These code words included pizza, which was said to mean young teen girl, whereas cheese pizza means little girl. Call it tinfoil hat nonsense if you please, but when WikiLeaks later leaked over 50,000 government emails, many high-ups were using these exact terms in contexts that only make sense if they are not referring to the food. That said, it is quite curious that someone would tattoo pizza on their inner lip and then pose for a GQ magazine-style photo to display it.
It is.
Perhaps this is why Cabot, when at ABC News, spent his time debunking what the media was calling the Pizzagate conspiracy. Yeah, the man with the pizza tattoo in his mouth wanted to make sure the world knew elites and sickos are not molesting little girls and calling them pizza so they could discuss their crimes right out in the open. We will come back to this tattoo later in this series. Romanian Angels. Erika worked with an NGO called Romanian Angels. This nonprofit arranged adoptions of Romanian children and was in a partnership with the U.S. military. In an interview, Erika said, I'm very proud that we have been able to go international in the past few years. I absolutely love working with the military, so I feel blessed that we can do that on a continual basis through Antonio Placement Center in Constanta, Romania. I should probably mention that there are accusations of the U.S. military being involved with child trafficking in Romania. This is
Talk
not
about
a
it.
conspiracy theory. This information comes from a whistleblower named Ana Maria Nuciu back in 2020, years before Kirk's death. But this whistleblower wasn't the first to bring the Romanian trafficking problem to light. Romania, as a whole, has had a lengthy history with human sex slavery. Anyway, the orphanage Erika was working with was in relatively close proximity to the scandal. Does that mean anything? No. But one of the military men who helped Erika with the adoption organization was Colonel Busher III, and he happened to be one of the individuals who was called out in the whistleblower documents as being part of the trafficking ring. Additional
That's
accusations against him have come from numerous children and other adults.
That's very
In
interesting.
fact, Mr. Busher, the commander of the U.S. forces at the Kogalnățeanu base, wasn't just a player in the operation. He was accused of orchestrating the entire trafficking ring. Now you would think the police and prosecutors in Romania would put an end to all of this, but they can't because in 2001, Romania signed a deal with the U.S. military that agreed the Romanian government would never investigate a crime committed by the military on Romanian soil.
Of course
I know,
they did.
unbelievable, right? Why on earth would they do such a thing? The answer is because they had to. The U.S. military held so much physical power over them. And truthfully, they were probably involved in it. If that is reality, the agreement would have benefited both parties. Because of this deal, sex slavery not only continued, it ramped up. The U.S. State Department's 2025 Trafficking in Persons report noted that Romania remains a primary source country for trafficking victims in Europe. Only a few months ago, in October, a major human trafficking operation in Romania was, allegedly, dismantled by police. This operation was so large that it spanned the United Kingdom, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and the United Arab Emirates. The British arm of the bust didn't occur until mid-January 2026, a full 3 months later. Despite the traffickers running a large-scale operation right under their noses in London, only a single individual was detained by authorities. Maybe giving them 90 days to flee had something to do with it? Just maybe? Andrew Tate. Now, if you want to hear something eyebrow-raising, Romania happens to be where controversial, conservative misogynist, social media influencer podcaster Andrew Tate and his brother were also accused of trafficking. In December 2022, Tate and his bro, Tristan, were arrested in Romania, along with 2 women. The following year, all 4 were charged with rape, human trafficking, and forming an organized crime group to sexually exploit women. According to the indictment, the defendants were trafficking in Romania as well as in countries including the US and the UK. The alleged victims stated that they were taken to buildings in Romania where they were intimidated, placed under constant surveillance and control, forced into debt, then made to take part in pornography, which was later sold on OnlyFans. One of the brothers was accused of raping a woman multiple times. Gosh, this sure sounds a heck of a lot like my Playboy CIA investigation, now doesn't it? When you look deeper into the British-American brothers from Romania, the story becomes even more sketchy. This hero of young conservative men all over the world was famous before he became podcast famous. Andrew Tate, one of the most Googled men in the world in 2022 and 2023, was a star of the TV show Big Brother. He made headlines for being ejected from the house for attacking a woman. But this isn't the full story. It seems the real reason he was removed from the show was that he was under investigation for rape. Big Brother wasn't Tate's first time on television or in the news. Prior to Big Brother, he was a kickboxing champion. So this Romanian Tate guy who flew to fame in kickboxing, landed a spot on a popular TV show, was beating and raping women, then became a famous podcaster, then was charged with running a trafficking operation, while all along pushing a misogynist ideology on young men, specifically American and British young men. In fact, he was accused of selling courses that taught men how to abuse women and coerce them into sex work, pimping trafficking. These classes alone allegedly had over 100,000 subscribers. Why is his story of interest? Aside from cross-border trafficking, it's because while the rest of us have had our accounts blocked and banned, Mr. Tate's content was pushed to the top of algorithms. that only happens when the search engine overlords want what you have to say to be seen. You don't become the most Googled man in the world by fluke. Should I mention that Tate's father served in the United States Air Force as a sergeant? It sure seems like there is a consistent theme here. Perhaps this was why, despite the severity of the charges against him, Andrew was released from pretrial detention not long after his arrest, and in December 2025, Andrew Tate made a brief return to combat sports. The icing on the cake of the Andrew Tate story is that, although he's from Romania and England, he was born in Washington, D.C., the Baphomet City, Hell's Angels. But it's not just humans being trafficked from Romania. In 2023, a federal jury in Texas convicted a Romanian national for plotting to traffic hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from the United States in a scheme that also included money laundering and arms trafficking. What makes this case fascinating is that the convicted 50-year-old Marius Lazar of Bucharest, Romania, was a founding member of his local chapter of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. This Hells Angels high-up somehow had access to rifles, grenades, armored vehicles, and other military-grade equipment. So what we have here is this massive operation that spans the world, specifically America, the UK, the Balkans, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and the UAE. This operation involves everyone from the military to the Hells Angels, who have military-grade weaponry, to B and C-class celebrities. Moving along. Erika Kirk. I am not implying anything when I say this. I am simply mentioning it for research purposes. A quote from Erika Kirk herself said Romanian Angels was a global project. She has also posted videos of herself on military aircraft, which would lead a commonsensical person to believe her relationship to the military goes further than most partnerships. I personally know several people who have taken part in events that the military was also a part of, and not a single one of them was offered a private flight on a KC-135. Erika, like her mother, has a bunch of companies in her name, and just like Mom, these are businesses that have no website, no products, no retail location, and no reviews on social media. They don't even have a Facebook page because they have no internet footprint whatsoever, yet they somehow exist, but it's even worse than that. Let's look at a couple of these entities. The existing yet non-existent companies include Table 4, LLC, AZ Foothills Charitable Foundation, Inc., and the Elm Group, LLC. The Elm Group is 8 years old and in good standing with the government, yet there is no trace of it aside from its LLC filings. The address for the Elm Group, 9743, East Sharon Drive, Scottsdale, Arizona, brings us to a 3,197 square foot home worth $1.2 million. When Google searched, this same address pulls up another company, Everyday Heroes Like You. Unlike the aforementioned companies, Everyday Heroes Like You has an internet presence. The company's mission statement says, incorporated in 2007, Everyday Heroes Like You immediately took flight with numerous projects all over the world. CEO and founder Erika Frantzve has made it her mission to live out her calling and touch the lives of others by promoting various charitable foundations. Our passion is not limited to any specific category of charities. We support the heroes that strive to leave their fingerprints on the hearts and lives of others. This charity has been around since 2007, and its financial filings are being withheld from the public, such as in the case of the Orthodox Union, which is estimated to be generating $1 billion a year or more. Read the Kosher Mafia. This company appears to have run a GoFundMe campaign, but it was recently pulled from the site. Fellow researchers were able to get screenshots before it was deleted. On idealist.org, another address is listed as the primary contact for Everyday Heroes, 8321 East Gelding Drive.
So what he's pretty much getting into now, obviously, is just all the businesses and LLCs tied to Erika Kirk and how they pretty much lead nowhere. And I wonder if the same is true for her military affiliated mother. Oddly enough, the whole Candace Owens Camp Huachuca thing, and at first, oh, she's crazy, Camp Huachuca, oh, ha ha ha, Mitch, and we're gonna blast Mitch with showing how he was a womanizer and beat women and had assault charges, and I've heard so many outlandish things, and honestly, it's not what I'm here for. That still doesn't change the fact of what the man states he saw, and the fact that there's a lot to unpack with that whole camp. The whole camp watch it. That's a whole. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please, please, I beg you to go to Candace Owens' page and do some watching for yourself. I could sit here and talk about every bit of it till I'm blue in the face, but you need to go hear it from the person that brought it to the world. Because I don't want to miss or misspeak something that she put out there, or miss a important piece of information. But I will tell you is it's eye-opening and brings a whole new layer to the Charlie Kirk investigation for a fact. But this whole thing, as he goes through this with the LLCs and businesses, gets real weird real quick. I will say that. It gets really weird really quick. Yeah, it's just it's it's mind-boggling. It is truly mind-boggling. Let's see. Gelding, okay. This way I could just go like this to pause it instead of having to scroll all the way up.
Scottsdale, Arizona. This new address brings us to a company called ICU Security Group, which is located in this building. Looking at the building on Google Maps, I don't see the charity or ICU. Maybe they are located in the back of the building. Maybe they both moved. At the same address is a company called Armageddon Tactical Solutions, a provider of security services, consulting, and tactical training. This company was involved with the government as a federal vendor. On GovTribe, we see this company did one deal with the Department of Justice for advanced firearms and sniper training. A cage code is an alphanumeric identifier assigned by the U.S. Department of Defense to entities doing business with the federal government. On Armageddon's government cage profile, we discover the point of contact is listed as Walter Ferrer. This name led nowhere. However, on their cage profile is a new web address, ataxel.com. That link brings us here. Here we learn they are involved with security and firearms. Yeah, they are a weapons dealer. This business is also involved in active shooter training, crypto tracing, and unmanned aerial vehicles. Their About Us page reads as follows. With far-reaching capabilities, Ataxel offers global stability solutions to government, military, law enforcement, and commercial clients. No two missions are identical. Our approach integrates operations with a keen focus on the specific needs of our customers, allowing them to achieve their objectives. With far-reaching capabilities, Ataxel offers global stability solutions to government, military, law enforcement, and commercial clients.
Guys, that's a little weird right there, I would say, right? Like, just the verbiage of it all, right? How, like, that's what he's kind of hinting at with all this, how they're all kind of saying global. We have global stability solutions to government, military, law enforcement, and commercial clients. No two missions are identical. Our approach integrates operations with a keen focus on the specific needs of our customers, allowing them to achieve their objectives. Listen, I'm not saying there's everything to, everything opening, being discovered here, but like something, there's a lot of like weird conundrums here, right? Like some weird repetitive verbiage, some weird LLCs and businesses that lead to houses, or, I mean, it just seems like it's one thing after the next being hidden deeper and deeper to not be found. And when something doesn't want to be found, it's for a very, very big reason, right? It's either a completely fraudulent business, right? And exists only on paper for money laundering reasons, things of that nature, which very well could tie into the whole, human trafficking thing, blah, blah, blah. But for, and I'll tell you this too, I opened a business, um, I would say 6 or 7 years ago, and really just never did much with it. When you open a business and don't really do anything with it, I will tell you this: the government doesn't leave you alone about it. They hound you for filing fees, yearly fee. I get stuff in the mail all the time, still to this day, for the business, for the one business. So my thing is, if you had 8 businesses and well, I opened them and they just didn't pan out, or they didn't go anywhere, you would get rid of the entity because you wouldn't want it associated with your name. So my thing is, if Erika Kirk has numerous LLCs and businesses in her name, you better bet your ass she's doing something with them. Okay, I don't know what, obviously, otherwise I would tell you and be breaking news. But something's getting done with them. That's why she opened them. And not only that, the same fact goes for her military connected mother. I mean, that is also funky, right? They both have the same thing going on. The same mother that's I'm pretty sure at the Fort Huachuca, at some point. All right. I'm not saying I know for a fact there's something, but there's something there. There's definitely something connected with all of this, with the mother being connected to the military and multiple businesses in her name and Erika's name. Something is going on here with all of it. And if you don't think so, keep watching this video and you're going to see more and more comes to fruition here. But what I will say is it's definitely a little too odd to just be a coincidence. Okay? There's a lot that's just funky.
No two missions are identical. Our approach integrates operations with a keen focus on the specific needs of our customers, allowing them to achieve their objectives.
Specific needs.
What's really
of our
strange
customers.
is that on the ataxel.com site is a totally different address. 11445 East Violinda, Suite 2198, Scottsdale, Arizona. Now this part is really going to blow your mind. Where does 11445 East Violinda lead to? A shopping center. Which suite is 2198? We see the UPS store on the left of the above image. I was able to track down the suite number on the UPS website. It's 2. So to get to suite 2198, it must be around the corner, right? But the building ends at Animal Clinic Del Rancho, which is suite 10. So how do we get to suite 2198? There are some buildings behind the building, but they couldn't possibly share the same address. Could they? Then it dawned on me. I think this is a mailbox at the UPS store. The address isn't 2198. It's Suite 2, UPS box number 198. To recap, the Elm Group and Everyday Heroes both share an address, 9743 East Sharon Drive, which is a 1.
I also got to say, I do like that he does that, like, because he just gave a bunch of information. It's like, whoa, wait a second, where this address leads where, and what happened here to do with what? He then recaps. He's going to read it right here and tell you the recap of what he was just talking about. Okay.
$2 million home. Everyday Heroes has a second address, 8321 East Gelding Drive. At this address is a company called ICU Security Group. Like Elm Group, ICU has no internet presence whatsoever, and neither Erika's charity nor ICU is visible in this building on Google Maps. At the same address, 8321 East Gelding.
Guys, also, like, let's just think about that. In 2026, for you to run a business with zero internet presence, okay, couple things, right? Either you're a business that's been around so long and been just crushing it for so long and so diversified with customers that you don't even need an internet presence, or you were opened as a business for a very specific clientele that already agreed upon utilizing you no matter what, right? Well, how could you? Well, because first of all, I still am involved in a business to this day, right? As an electrical contractor. So I'll tell you this much right now. In any business, if you don't have an internet presence in today's world, then you better have a hell of a referral business, or you are not a business. It's that simple, right? But like let's like think about what he just said again. The Elm Group and Everyday Heroes both share an address. The Elm Group and Everyday Heroes both share an address, 9743 East Sharon Drive, which is a $1.2 million home. Everyday Heroes has a second address, 8321 East Gelding Drive. At this address is a company called ICU Security Group. Like Elm Group, ICU has no internet presence whatsoever, and neither Erika's charity nor ICU is visible in this building on Google Maps. Now, that's a little odd, right? That is a little odd. First of all, Erika's charity is sharing an address with ICU Security Group. What? That's just what? That's very interesting, guys. That is very, very interesting. And listen, please, if anybody has theories on what all this could mean, please drop them in the comments section below. Definitely, please. It helps us if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps to hit the notification bell. We are not able to go live yet. We need to get some subscribers going. But like I said, we are just starting out, so everything is appreciated. I do have the minimum necessary to go on TikTok. We could do that. We could do a live there. If anybody would like to see that, please drop it in the comments section below. Also, go check out Candace Owens. Check out Coach Colin. Check out Baron Coleman. They're doing great content. I watch them every day because I try to learn from them and try to see how they, diversify their channels. But I will say this is getting weirder and weirder the longer that this video is being read to me. The longer that this story is being, this investigation of his is being narrated to me. Sorry for a little verbal mashup there. Here you go.
Is a company called Armageddon Tactical Solutions, which is involved with the federal government, specifically in arms dealing and...
I got to pause again. Sorry. I just don't want to be talking over him as he's reading through this. At the same address, 8321 East Gelding, is a company called Armageddon Tactical Solutions. So, whoa. Let's read from the beginning here. One more time. The Elm Group and Everyday Heroes both share an address, 9743 East Sharon Drive, which is a $1.2 million home. Everyday Heroes then has a second address, 8321 East Gelding Drive. At this address is a company called ICU Security Group. Like Elm Group, ICU has no internet presence, don't want to be found, and neither Erika's charity doesn't want to be found, nor ICU is visible in the building on Google Maps. At the same address, 8321 East Gelding, 8321 East Gelding, Everyday Heroes, which is her charity, has a second address, 8321 East Gelding. Okay? So, wow. So at A321 East Gelding, let's think about this for a second here. We have Everyday Heroes, ICU Security Group, and Armageddon Tactical Solutions. Again, at one address, A321 East Gelding Drive, we have a oh my God, we have a charity, we have an ICU security group, and we have an Armageddon Tactical Solutions. So we, oh my goodness gracious.
Sorted defense sector activities. On their legal filings, we find a new web address, ataxel.com, but on this site is a different mailing address, 11445 East Via Linda, STE 2198. This address brings us to a UPS store mailbox. What is going on here? Hypothetically, if you were the government trying to hide assorted arms dealings, possibly with Israel, wouldn't this be a fucking
Ding ding
incredible
ding
cover?
ding 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 ding. Think about it. Guys, just use your brain for a moment here, please. Why would you not want to be found in today's day and age as a business or a charity? Charities still need donations, okay? Even if they're non-for-profit, whatever you want to call them, they still need assets, income, okay? You need to be able to find them on the internet to donate. Businesses, you need to be able to find them on the internet to purchase things, unless what? You have military connections. And listen, I'm not saying you guys can all go in and fact check everything he's saying. Please do. If he's full of it, come right back on and drop me a bunch of comments with links to show that he's full of everything. Hey, this address is this address is that. He's lying. Da da da. Provide the proof. Don't just say he's an idiot, he's a liar, right winger, conservative, Trumper. Listen, I'm not here for that. I'm here to get the truth out on what actually happened to a man, a father, a son. I'm not even going to say, I get a husband, a brother, a human at the end of the day. That's what we're here to find out. What happened to a fellow human being. Because nothing he said ever validates him being assassinated, especially in the way he was. But period. Assassinated, period. You don't get to be able to not like what somebody's talking about and just kill them for it. This is not Nazi Germany. This is not 1940s Germany, okay? This is not Hitler's Germany, okay? This is America, and our forefathers had a certain vision in mind for this country. And this, what we are dealing with today, is absolutely not the vision. Trust and believe that. Okay? But think about what he just said. Wow, guys. Wow. What if the government did want to hide? I mean, it would be an amazing cover, wouldn't it? Would it not be? And I wonder if she could, not if she is, but if she could be involved with something that, well, I don't know. She has a bunch of LLCs and businesses in her name that lead nowhere, as does her military-connected mother. That much I will say. Pretty strange. Pretty convenient. Hat sales are up. T-shirt sales are up. Look over here. Look over this way while we do this over here. Look over here so we could do. Come on, man. It's the oldest trick in the book. Some referred to as the old 52 fake out, But it's a lot to unpack here, and yeah, it's a lot to buy into all at once, guys. And I'm not saying everything this guy is saying is Bible, okay? It's not all truth, but maybe it is. What if it is? But what if even half of it's true? What if even 20% of it is true? Just saying. Think. He's pointing out a lot of good stuff here, guys. All right? Like, it's very odd that in one address, you just so happen to have a charitable organization, an ICU security group, and a business called Armageddon. Think about that word, Armageddon. End of the world. Armageddon Tactical Solutions. Same address. Oh, no. Don't. Hey, listen. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, okay? That is the most absurd. Somebody made that all up. Me, Erika? I don't know. Somebody must have opened them in my name. I don't know. But hey, Charlie wouldn't want that. Charlie would want us to press forward. And Charlie would really, really want you to go to tpusa.com and get yourself a nice little hat. Maybe a little coffee mug to go along with it. That's what Charlie would want. Charlie would want you to stop asking questions and just buy a goddamn t-shirt. Sound like somebody familiar? I'll bet you she has some ex-employees that could say it does.
The All-American Family. The pretty, blonde Miss Arizona turned grieving widow. Would anyone ever suspect these people could be involved with a major criminal enterprise that is networking with the U.S. government and likely governments throughout the world? It gets stranger. Everyday Heroes was written about by a company called AZ Foothills Magazine. Could this be part of Erika's AZ Foothills Charitable Foundation, on which there is no information available? If they are not related, why does Erika own a charity in the magazine's name? If they are related, it would seem Erika interviewed herself for a shell site, and the interview was about another shell company. In the interview, Erika said, "In 2006, at the age of 17, I founded Everyday Heroes Like You, that now has 2 national outreach programs, Johnny's Locker and Pause for a Cause. We will get to these 2 programs in a moment, but first, this organization, Everyday Heroes, was registered in 2009, not 2006. Second, during the interview, she was requesting monetary donations. If you scroll down the...
Guys, listen, I love when people just drop factual stuff. Like, I love that, like, because most people say, like, oh, well, that's not a big, well, so what? Maybe she's... What matters? Why? Because it's the truth. It's the reality. Okay? Right here. Principal Officer Erika Frantzve. Right here. We've seen that address, haven't we? 9743 East Sharon Drive, Scottsdale, Arizona. So it's not like this guy is just going on a rampage here, talking a bunch of nonsense that he did not investigate. He did his homework. And I will say, could this be part of Erika's AZ Foothills Charitable Foundation? I mean, AZ Foothills Magazine, that's just totally coincidental again. Hey, everything here's coincidence, okay? It's coincidence. It's coincidence that my mother, like me, has 8, 6, 8, 10 businesses in her name that don't lead anywhere on the internet. It's coincidence. It's coincidence. It's coincidence that my charitable organization just so happens to share the same mailing address or address as a security group. And it just is just a massive coincidence that it also shares the same as a tactical solution weapon providing group, okay? That has global reach. They said it on their website, on the because he said that one does actually have an internet presence, and it says we could do whatever. You need weapons, we got them. Wherever you need them, we have world solution. style weapons, global solution style weapons, weapons that, can take care of your needs and can get the job done. Well, weapons only get one job done if you're not hunting, and that's killing people or targets. Okay? We can help you take care of your objective. It just so happens that, hey, it's coincidence, okay? Stop asking questions. Buy yourself a hat. Damn it. Charlie would want you to. And would you just make a donation to TPUSA already? Would you just do it? Charlie's in heaven. That's what he wants. He wants you to make a donation and buy a hat already. And a goddamn t-shirt, people. Don't you hear me?
Magazine's contact page, they tell you they have no phone number. But there is an address, 330 North 12th Street, Phoenix, Arizona. Not having a phone number seems odd, because this building, located at 5330 North 12th, has a giant sign that says Center for Positive Media. You would think it would have a phone number. 5330 North is also home to a variety of other businesses, none of which can be seen from outside. This includes a company called Regal Electronics. It seems like a bizarre place for an electronics business. Through further research, we discover Regal Electronics, which has no website, no social media, and no digital footprint, specializes in security systems and services, exactly as ICU Security Group did at the other address. We also learn Regal Electronics is a division of Regal Lighting, and we get another address, 15125 North Hayden Road, Phoenix, Arizona. This new address brings us to a small restaurant called Café Paris. Perhaps Café Paris was at one point Regal, and they forgot to change the address? Now on to Johnny's Locker and Pause for a Cause. Johnny's Locker is a ghost on the internet. Even if I add the word charity or outreach, there is still nothing. Not a single result. There are also no tax filings for this company. There are numerous charitable organizations named Pause for a Cause, all of which claim to have never made a penny. This is very strange considering that Kirk herself said both Johnny's Locker and Pause are national entities. You'd think at least one of these companies would be generating something. To explain to you how shell companies are utilized, here is a real-life example. Poland wanted to make a purchase from Israel, but the amount, over $15 million, would raise red flags. So instead of sending Israel the money directly, Poland ordered the money be removed from their central bank and deposited into Bulgaria's special account. From there, a $2 million commission was extracted, and the remaining $18 million was sent off to the next destination, likely the first shell. After traveling the world virtually, the money ended up in the discount bank of Tel Aviv. Tracing the funds route would be nearly impossible. To accomplish this, a large variety of shell companies scattered throughout the world are required. I'm not making any accusations, but these are telltale signs of a massive web of shell companies, and this is really eyebrow-raising because of what we discussed at the very beginning of this piece. With Charlie Kirk out of the picture, $185 million in assets, almost double the equivalent of what a company like Zoom grosses each year.
Yeah, because that's the special word he did here too is commission. Okay, because that's what they'll do. They'll do it and call it like a commission because it's not like a recorded sale. It's like a commission. It's a portion of money that you get for completing a task, right? But I'm pretty sure, and correct me in the comments, I'm not speaking like I know everything either. But I'm pretty sure like something with commissions. Commission can be reported differently than regular income. I have to look into that though. I'm not going to speak on that too much yet, but luckily my stepfather is an accountant. So Poppy, if you're watching this, Bill, he is also the grandpappy, step grandpappy of my two little boys. So I can ask him no problem. But that's interesting. And again, he does say, I'm not making any accusations, and it's like everybody that will watch this video go, oh well, yes he is. Look what he said about Erika. He's stating facts that he researched himself. He said she has numerous LLCs and companies in her name that lead nowhere with any internet presence. That is weird. Okay, that is weird. If I had that, the government would be all up in my ass. Period. End of story. They would be. They would be like, what is going on? And any banker would tell you that's typically a money laundering flag. You know, multiple businesses throughout years, more than one, two. I'm talking 6, 8 businesses in your name, and none of them really doing anything and having zero internet presence. It's weird. It is weird. Okay? And your mom has the same exact situation going on. 6, 8 businesses in her name. None of them have an internet presence. None of them really making any income, at least recorded income. Weird, man. It is weird. And the fact that the address for a charitable donation that you claim shares a secondary address of its with a security group and an arms provider. And your mom is connected to the military. And hat sales are through the roof. Buy a hat already. And a t-shirt and a coffee cup. Charlie would want you to. I'm going to get some blowback for this one.
Was transferred to Erika, the same individual whose family has a lengthy history of being tied to the military, organized crime,
Ding,
and
ding,
Israel.
ding.
The same individual whose mother appears to be a CIA affiliate with 8 different aliases and a whole lot of shell companies in her name.
Yeah, hold on a second. Well, think about that part too. I didn't even touch on that yet. 8 different aliases? Like that's, you can Google that, people. I'm not telling you. Go look it up for yourself. Because I started believe it or not, the way I came across this was I typed in on Google Kent Frantzve, which is Erika's father's name. Okay? And with a little more searching and clicking, I came to this. But it's absolutely buried on purpose, this whole substack. They don't want you getting this information, okay? And because they don't want to cause hysteria. And I can understand. It was the same thing. They didn't want the UFO footage leaked way back in the 50s. And, you know, a lot of those old school people, even like my mom's age, are convinced that they're not real because the government did such a good job at convincing you back then that you were crazy and a tinfoil hat wearer if you did believe it. Even though I'll show my, you can show people of older generation, like, here is the footage the government themselves have now put out. Oh, no, I don't believe it. That's some AI stuff. Okay. Because that's how brainwashed they are. That generation, from thinking for themselves. They believe and trust in the government because that's what they were taught to do by their parents and grandparents. But my God, the aliases thing, the multiple businesses. Excuse me, I got some of my eyes, guys. It's all like, listen, it's all too connected to just be a coincidence at this point, guys. I think mommy showed daughter how to get it done, how to do it like she's doing it. You open businesses, you do this, you run it through the government, does this. And then at some point they say, hey, listen, Erika, that husband of yours is starting to make some waves with this whole Israel thing, okay? And we need him to shut up. But Erika couldn't shut up Charlie. Nobody could shut up Charlie. And that's what Candace was just covering last night in her episode. Was like, it was this whole thing about how, like, the night before the assassination, before Charlie flew out or something like that to go to the event, the night or a couple nights before, whatever it may be, Erika had given a, like, description of that night and how she wanted Charlie to get a good night's sleep, so she had him go into their daughter's room to get a good night's sleep. And then she said something very key. She said, and then in the morning before he left, he came in and got his wedding ring off the dresser. Okay. Wait a second. Why did he have his wedding ring off again? You see what I mean? See, I feel like a wife of somebody that's powerful like that, that had a big speech to give and was all stressed out and couldn't sleep, wouldn't you think, like, the wife would go and sleep in the daughter's room and let him have the bed? You know, maybe because he's the one that's kind of like the big deal and kind of the one that's all stressed out, thinking about somebody and obsessing about somebody possibly trying to kill him. That was Charlie's thoughts, was somebody's out to kill me right now. And I'm paranoid about it. That's what he was thinking, okay? And couldn't sleep over. That's the reality. She'll tell you something different, but that is what Charlie Kirk was paranoid about, that somebody was actually going to kill him. He had vivid dreams and vivid visions about it. Candace will tell you that as well. So my theory might be there was a big argument and fight going on between the two, and Erika was trying, without telling him, the government's going to have you killed if you don't stop talking about you-know-who, or talking out against you-know-who. They're going to get you clipped. Because she couldn't say that. She was trying to convince him in other ways, probably. Listen, Israel's willing to give you Netanyahu's willing to give you a stupid amount of money, Charlie. A stupid amount of money. Okay? That's also a fact. That's a fact at this point. Billions and billions of dollars. Okay? Come on, Charlie. Get on board with it, Charlie. And I think she couldn't convince him. And I think it caused a severe argument or arguments. And such arguments that maybe had him taking his wedding ring off and willingly and purposely sleeping in his daughter's room. That's what I think at this point, in this juncture, and at this juncture. And it's just a lot of this back behind the curtain stuff is starting to make a little more sense now and starting to kind of tie it all together. But let's kind of keep going down this and get this. I don't want to take up your guys' whole entire night. Let's get through this. Not too much left, guys. Thanks for hanging in. Hit that like button, please. It helps us. Like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Definitely put the notification bell on. And would you just buy a hat already? Come on. DPUSA, did you?
Same individual who herself has bizarre ghost businesses that run anyone trying to look them up in circles, exactly as those involved in organized crime do when they are trying to cover their tracks. These $185 million worth of donations came from people who believed they were supporting both their country and a nice family in the conservative movement. At the time of writing this, I had no idea just how important Uncle Jack was, but in less than a week, I would find myself in the middle of one of the biggest investigations I have ever been involved with. Next read. The Untold Story of Jeffrey Epstein, DynCorp, Mossad, and Israel.
All right. Well, maybe we could get into that next, guys. get into some Epstein, DynCorp, Mossad, and Israel stuff, more Israel stuff. But tell me what you guys thought. I thought he did a pretty thorough job on what he was claiming. And again, he didn't point any specific fingers really at anyone. He really just kind of covered information available to the public via Google and, YouTube and stuff like that, and websites and, images and tax filings and all open to the public information, GoFundMe information. He really did do his thing on this one, I think. So, hate him, love him, he definitely did his homework. Again, Agent 131711, thank you for this. I hope that we get some eyeballs on this. And hey, drop in the comment section what you guys think. Or if you have anything that I could use or research myself as far as helping uncover this whole Charlie Kirk assassination situation. But reality is, somebody somewhere had a lot bigger hand in this than any of us currently know for a fact, like publicly. It's going to come out. Listen, those kind of skeletons can't stay in the closet. Okay, they will come to the light. So until the next episode, you guys have a great night, great weekend. Or hope you had a great weekend if you're watching it after one. The channel is The Heat, and it stands for Holding Evil Accountable Today, because it's about time we do. It's about time we do. And that's the stuff I'm looking to cover on this channel. That's the news and topics I'm looking to cover. Charlie Kirk is right now the main focal point, but I'm also very interested in the child sex trafficking thing and things of that nature, because it is disgusting. And Sean Ryan show just covered one, Camp Kanachuk, I believe. I have to look, but the stuff he's covering in there, please go check him out too. Sean Ryan show. He's another real official one. And they don't like what he talks about. So what do? They send him cease and desist letters and threats of litigation. And he's like, bring it on. And I respect the hell out of him for that. So I'll be covering some of his stuff as well coming up soon. I'll probably be doing some watch-alongs with some of his content where I'll play his video and kind of talk about it as I watch through it with you guys. So I can't wait till we can go live. But to do that, we need you to like the video, subscribe to the video for sure, so we can get that count up, and hit that notification bell. You guys have a great one. Thank you so much for giving me your time. We are truly grateful. And me and my little family, thank you. Have a great night. See you soon.